problem. Okay, so in core Java, no problem, just I will relate with the class keyword because this is related to this. If you don't know about of Java, leave it. Okay, so at least you have a little bit knowledge about, if you heard about of what is object oriented programming language.
Yeah, heard about that, but not in
okay,
not
no
like,
problem.
yeah.
Okay, so Java is object oriented programming language and Python
Okay.
is a scripting and object oriented programming language, both. Java
Okay.
having a only object oriented programming language, but Python having a scripting also and object oriented programming language. Okay, this is the one thing. Second thing, we are telling object oriented programming language. What is the meaning of this? Okay, what is the meaning of object oriented programming language? When we are going to develop anything, right, any application, you can say we are going to develop any application. We have a banking application, right, banking application, e-commerce, spelling is wrong. Okay, e-commerce application, many application is there. We have a Redverse. These are the applications, right? Many application is there. What do you meaning of object oriented programming language means? We are going to convert real world object. What do you meaning of real world? Bank is a real world object, right? E-commerce is a real world object, right? Employee is a real world object. Company, real world object. So object oriented programming language means we are going to convert real world object into the programming world. What do you meaning of real world object in programming world? Means we are going to, programming means we are going to do automation, right? We have a HDFC bank, many banks are there, ICICI bank. We are using net banking, right? So what happened? We are converting the real world object into the programming world. This is OOPS principle. But okay, you told me real world we are going to convert into the programming world. Programming is nothing but this is called automation. Automation how to do? By using the code, right? Programming. Then we'll convert, we will automate this all the things. But we have, okay, that is fine. We have a OOP principle. Why OOP principle is required? Because when you are going to develop application, right? Net banking, security is required, right? If you don't have a security, we will lose huge loss of the business. E-commerce, payment gateway is there, security is required, right? So what happen if you don't provide the security? Then what happen? We will face more, means huge losses. Our business is lost. Okay, so first principle is security. So in the Java we have a concept called encapsulation. These are the OOP principle. Okay, we know what is object oriented. Everything is an object here, right? This laptop is also object, right? In your room, fan, everything is an object. So whatever this real world we are going to convert into the programming world. This is called OOP concept. When we are going to develop OOP concept, we have a principle of the OOP concept, because this is the thing. But how to develop this? If you are going to develop anything, we have to provide the security. We have to provide the reusability of your code. Reusability means one software company is there, so they have developed one banking application. So they have developed HDFC bank, and again another client will come, ICICI. Then again they want to develop all this code, because 50% net banking having the same features, right? So this 50% they will reuse this. So we have a concept called inheritance. Okay, so inheritance, we have a concept called inheritance, runtime polymorphism. These are the OOP concept, runtime polymorphism. So first we have to know little bit idea about the hook concept, because in Python everything is an object. If you are writing anything, everything is an object. So what do you meaning of object? Okay, so real world object, anything is an object. Okay, so this is the one thing. We have a one more principle in the in Java. We have a abstraction. What do you meaning of runtime polymorphism? Okay, I will come on this. Runtime polymorphism means we have a one what you can tell. You have a one ATM card, right? ATM card, and we can withdraw from any ATM, right? I have a HDFC ATM. I can withdraw from ICICI. I can withdraw from Axis Bank, Kotak Bank. So this is called runtime polymorphism. So this thing I'm not going to. Polymorphism is there, in Python also, but I will come. So when you are writing anything, this is real world. We are going to convert into the programming world. How to do this? Okay, in the code. So what happened? We have a one keyword that is called class keyword. What do you meaning of this class keyword? This class keyword is convert real world object into the programming world. Okay, by using this class keyword in Java and in Python also, this class keyword. So by using this class keyword, whatever the object you are writing, we can convert real world object into the programming world. You will get more definition of an class, but why class required? We know the definition, this is the blueprint of an object, but why it is required? Okay, so whatever the object if you will write, will convert into the real world, into the programming world. So that's why we are using this class keyword. Okay, what do you meaning of object? Okay, so I'm not going to discuss all the things in the Java, because we are going to learn Python, right? So just I want to little bit give you idea about the object. Okay, object. Okay, what do you meaning of object? Because in Python also we have a I say this as a no problem, I will say it as this. Okay, so my question is, why object is required? What do you meaning of an object? I know this object, anything is an object converted into the real world in programming world. So what happened? We have two members in the Java and in Python also, static and non-static. So why a static and non-static will required? Because this is the related to your object. So why a static and non-static is required? Where we can use as a project level, a static and non-static. Okay, so a static and non-static, we have a bank name. Okay, we have a IFSC code. Okay, IFSC code. Okay. When I'm going to develop one application, banking application, right? Okay, we have a bank address also. Okay, we have a bank address, we have a bank name, IFSC code. So when you are going to develop this in your real world, in your coding, then what you have to do, you have to write bank name as a static. Why we can write this as static? We will write bank name as a static. Okay, IFSC code I will write also static, and bank address I will write a static. Why we use a static? The use of this static keyword, it will provide the single copy of memory. Okay, it will provide the single copy of memory. Okay, so these are the unique. Bank name won't be changed, IFSC code won't be changed, and bank address is also same. So this is the static. If a static is there, then finally is also there. If you, in the code some other user want to change this, it won't be changed. Okay, but where we can use non-static? In bank we have a multiple, many numbers of customers, right? Might be in one bank we have a lakh of the customer. These all are the customer of HDFC Bank. Then what happens when you are the new customer of any bank or anything like, then you have to give the information to the all your information, right? So your name is required, and we have a mobile number, right? We have a mobile number, PAN card is required, Aadhaar card is required. Okay, Aadhaar card is required. Okay, so this all the information they want. This customer having this all the information. My one question is, if you don't know, that's fine. All this variable will give a static or non-static.
Non-static.
Why?
Because they can change this, no? Because mobile number may be changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if I will write the static, then what will happen?
And he is not able to change it again.
Okay. No, we can change this.
No,
If you will write the final.
and
Yeah.
the
You will write
details
the
would be reserved.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay, fine. It's good. So why we are writing here? If you will write a static, like some developer have written this a static. Okay. Some developer have written here user means all the information as a static. In future, if any modification of the customer is there, this customer want to change this mobile number, then what happen? All this affected to the all this, because we have a single copy of memory. We don't have a multiple copy of memory. So what happen if someone will modify this data mobile number, this modification will affect it to the all the customer information, because the static means we have a single copy of memory. We don't have a specific copy of memory. No, I want to provide the one customer have a specific copy of memory, then we should go for non-static. Non-static means we have a non-static. We have a here okay, string name, and what we can take long equal to okay long just I am taking this long mobile. Okay, so here I will give a just mobile number. Okay, I'm not giving like all. Okay, so if you want to access this, and this I have written a static. Just I want to tell you how to access this static or non-static. You know how to access a static and non-static member? If you want to print name, okay, I will call directly here, and I think the static I have written down. Okay, so what happened? We have a static and one non-static. Integer is 2 loss. Actually, this will not accepted. Yeah. Okay, because maximum value is not allowed. Okay, let's see. Then what happened? We have a static and non-static. So a static you can access directly. So a static means when class is loaded into the JVM, all this memory will get at the time. But non-static, if you will try to access, then what happened directly? I want to access this non-static. Here we will print this value or we will get compile time error. Got it? This is static and this is non-static. If I will print directly this here we will get this output or we will get compile time error.
Maybe it will give compile time error.
Why?
Because it's not static and we directly can take this, no?
Oh,
That's why.
okay. Yeah, but what is the reason? Okay, that is fine. A static and this is non-static. So if I will compile this, so we will get this variable cannot be converted from the non-static context. Actually, what happened? I told you here, right? We want to provide a specific copy of the memory. Then how to provide the specific copy of memory? And one more thing, this static we can access inside this main method because this is also a static. So a static member will get memory when JVM is class is loaded into the JVM. JVM automatically provide a static all this static member memory. But non-static we have to create an object. So object we are going to create an object. So how to create an object? We have a class name. Okay. So we have provided one object. We can create multiple copies. Then how to create a multiple copy? By using this object. So how to create an object? By using class name and this reference variable new keyword, and this is your constructor. So just I am giving why I have given this static and non-static and class keyword, because in Python everything is an object. Okay, so what happens when you are writing new keyword, then it will create an object. It will create an object. This new keyword means creating an object, and this is constructor is there in the core Java. So this is your constructor. So we are not worry about of this. Constructor means it is going to initialize an object. Here we have a variable, right? We have a variable here. So we have a long type. So long type we have a default value 0. Okay, by default the value is 0. Then what happened? This object is created and I'm going to store this variable inside this long value. Then what happened? Here it will if you are creating default value is already there. Okay, then what happened? This value I have written, just I'm not writing all this value. So here it will store all this value, whatever the value is there. This variable is stored inside this object, and this is our referenced variable B. So this is referenced variable. This reference variable B, we have a 1010. This is this is also important thing, whatever this reference I am writing here. Okay, so we have a one reference. So what is the meaning of this reference? I will tell you. So it will point here. If you want to access this, how to access this? So by using this. Now what happened? A static will store inside this object. Okay, just think all this object having the one customer here. All the information we have, how to display this. Then what you have to do, by using this variable is pointing to this object. Then how to access this value? B dot, this dot, by using this dot, and here what, if you want to a variable, if you want to a method, so we can access from this. So here what we will write, B dot. Okay, so Python having both a scripting language and object-oriented programming language. I think you got some idea what of an object here. Okay, yeah, one more thing. This reference variable, if you will display this reference variable, then what happens? Okay, if you will display this reference variable, you can see we will get one number, one random number we will get it. This random number is nothing but hash code. Okay, in Java we have a hash code, in the Python we have a ID. Okay, this reference variable, if you want to display only object, so object having the one unique number, that is called hash code, and hash code is generated by the JVM. One more question is that we should not confuse about of this. If you are not writing this, okay, just I'm going to comment this. Someone will ask, if I will not write this, I will create an object only. Then what happens? Nothing will happen. Its object is created. Okay, that's it, and values are stored here. But why we are writing this reference variable? Because if you will not write this reference variable, then how to access this? So if you will display this object, it is also one word, number. That is the number that is called hash code. Okay, I did not comment this. I have to comment that. So what happened? That object is nothing but one number is there. That is called, I commented this also, so I have to also comment this. Okay, if you will create an object, then one hash code number is there. That is, a random number which is generated by the JVM. So every, multiple customer is there, right? Then how to identify this? So we have a one unique number, one object having the one unique number, that is called hash code in the Java. Okay, and how it is going to get? By the JVM having the logic to generate the hash code. Okay, so this random number is generated. Okay, that is called hash code. In Python, if you are writing a equal to 10, everything is an object. Okay, so here what we have learned, why we are using class keyword, object creation, why it is required, static and non-static. Object means we have a specific copy of memory, non-static means we have a single copy of memory. So these all the things is also related to the Python. So just I will give you some introduction regarding this for Python. So we have a scripting language and we have a programming language. So Python having the scripting language and Python is a scripting language. Okay, not a programming language. Python is a scripting language. But what is the difference between the programming language and scripting language? A script, we are using the interpreter. In Python having the interpreter. But Java is your programming language. In Java, we need a compilation. Okay, Java we need a compilation, then it will execute. This is the major difference between the scripting language and programming language. So just I have written this language fundamental. What is a scripting language? The term scripting is also used for loosely or bigly or tight web programming. Why it is called loosely or bigly tight programming? If you know little bit idea about a shell scripting, Python is also what a scripting language. Loosely or bigly means you can, if you are going to automate anything in DevOps profile and Unix and Linux admin, the people are using this scripting language. So they have some automation required. So what happens? The code is very short, and inside this, like you are using this shell scripting, I can also use another language with shell scripting. But Python we cannot use another language. In Python code we cannot use the another code. But in the scripting language we can use. In core Java we cannot use the another code with core Java. Okay, but in Python I can also use this core Java code. In shell scripting I will also use this core Java code. So that's why it is called loosely and bigly and tight bed programming. A scripting language are becoming a most popular due to emergence of web-based application. The term a scripting language is also used to loosely to refer the dynamic high level and General purpose of language. A scripting or a script language is a programming language support the script. A script written for the special runtime environment, that is the automate and execute the task. What is the meaning of the task? Task means, if we'll go in the DevOps profile, so we have a many things. We have a multiple VMs. That VMs you have to log in. 100 VMs is their virtual machine. So you have to log in all the VMs by using the script. So that is called one task. 100 VM I want to log in by using the script. We should not do any manual interaction. Okay, a scripting language is a programming language designed for integration and communication with another language. That's why I have written. And some of the most widely used for a scripting language are JavaScript, VBScript, PHP, Perl, Python, Ruby, ASP, and this one more language, TCL. And since the scripting language is normally used to conjunction with another programming language, so all this scripting language we can use with the another programming language. What is the meaning of programming language? A programming language is a formal language that specifies a set of instructions. We have to give this, right? If you write anything here, then if you will compile this, we'll get error. Okay, not a statement. So we have to, in programming language, we have to follow this set of the instruction that can be used for produce the various kind of the output. Okay, because compiler know the thing which is the concept of Java, related to Java. If you will write anything else, you will get error. Okay, so programming language can be used to create a program that implement a specific algorithm. What is the difference between of a scripting and programming language? Basically, all this scripting language are programming language. The theoretical difference between the two, in the scripting language does not require compilation. Okay, so in Python there is no compilation steps, and rather the interpreted. For example, normally C program need to be a compiled, or you can take the Java program. You need to be a compiled before running normally. So a scripting language like JavaScript or PHP need not compile this. So application of a scripting languages are to automate a certain task. I told you we have 100 VMs. We have to log in all the 100 VM. We have to upgrade this version. We have to check 100 VMs virtual machine is there. We have to check the OS version of this 100 VMs. So we cannot log in and we can check this. So we have a script. This is called a certain task. So these are this type of the task they are going to write the scripting. So extracting the information from data set. We have a another task is there. We have to grab all one website is there. You have to collect only mobile number of that website. Okay, so less code intensive and compared to traditional programming language. So code is very short because we should not have a we are printing this in the 7 line of the code here. If you will print the hello world, but in Python you can print like that. That's it. Hello. Okay, in Java we have a like 7 line of the code. If you will write, we have to write a main method like 7 line of the code, but in the Python just 1 line we are able to print this. So this thing I have mentioned, one less code intensive. Application of the programming language, they typically run inside this parent program like a script and more compatible while they integrating. So what happened, what I have mentioned here. Okay, application for programming language. The application we are using this scripting language, and one application we are using what programming language. So what is the difference is there? That thing I want to try to explain this. So they typically run the parent program like a script and more compatible while integrating to code with mathematical models. Okay, data science and machine learning having only the mathematical part, but Java and the another language does not have. So this thing I have mentioned, more compatible, integrating with mathematical models like Java can be compiled and then used in the any platform. So these are the major difference between programming language and a scripting language. So we have a now the Python is going day by day because they having a more library. It means you can work in the any field. That library we can work in the any profile. You can work in the testing, you can work in the web development, you can work in the DevOps profile, you can work in the data science, anything, they having the more use. So that's why it become the popular Python. Okay, so just I have mentioned this and I have written this like this theory, so we should not go for all the theory. I will send you this notes. Okay, you can read once. Okay, what is Python? So Python is a interpreted object oriented high programming language with the dynamic semantics. Dynamic means, what do you meaning of dynamic? Actually, when we are writing this here we are writing int equal to 10, right, in core Java, but in Python we will write a equal to 10. Okay, we should not write a data type, so this is called a dynamic, because if you will write s equal to a string value, okay, we should not write this. So what happen, interpreter will decide this type of which type of the value you are giving. The interpreter will decide at the time of storing your value. If you will write any like, okay, so here this is the double type. So what happened, the interpreter will decide all this value. This is called a dynamic. Okay, so typing and dynamic binding and make it's a very attractive and rapid application. When we are writing this here, all this, just you are storing this all this customer data, then you have to provide here all the data type, string, double, int, long, right? But here we should not provide anything. Interpreter will decide according to your value which type of the value you are going to store. Okay, that's why it's a very fast. We have a less coding to developing the application. Okay, as well as a scripting language to connect the existing component together. So Python is simple, easy, and learn the syntax, emphasize rapidly, and therefore the reduce the cost of the maintenance. Just I will give you one example. I am going to develop one code in the Python and I am going to develop one code in the Java. So what happened? We have a very the syntax of the Python is as compared to Java. I told you in the Java we are only I am printing the such statement 7 line is required. In the Python we have required only 1 line. So definitely what happened, the application will develop very fast as compared to another programming language. So that's why its cost is also less and maintenance is also less. So that thing I have mentioned here. Okay, all the things Python support. We have a more library in the Python. Okay, I told you, right? So we can use in the web development, we can use in testing, DevOps, data science, artificial intelligence, DevOps, and you have some another work to automate in your anything in your project, then we can use by using the Python we can do this. So we have a more modules and package which encourage to program modularity and code reusing, because we should not going to develop this, we have already and we are reusing all this module. That Python interpreter and extensive standard library are available. So we had all this library and banned it from the without charge for all major platform. So what happened, we can use this Python in the any OS. Okay, and it will distributed just what I have written platform and can be freely distributed. I have developed one application in my Mac and my client is using Windows. So I want to provide that application to the project to that client. So they should not do any extra thing to execute our application in the Windows. So that's why we can can be freely distributed. What is the difference between the programming and scripting in the technical word? A scripting language having the interpreted best, means it will read line by line. Implicit declaration of the data type. Okay, so here interpreter means it will read line by line, and we have an implicit declaration, right? I already discussed it, right? So this, if you will use Java, then we have to provide this data type, but in the Python we should not. Okay, so implicit declaration of data type. Okay, easily integrated with the another technology. If you want to use this Python code to another programming language, we can use easily. Programming language, we have a compiler based, and this is what explicit declaration of the data types. Explicit means we are providing this data types. Okay, but in Python we are not providing in any data type. Implicit, it will take the data type according to which type of the data you are going to store this. Okay, and difficult to integrate with the another technology. So it's very difficult to integrate with the another technology. So why Python? You guys just read it. I already discussed this, all the things. Okay, what is in the Python? Same thing. Why Python is required? So same thing I have mentioned here. It is a we have a first thing is we have a huge library in the Python, and syntax of the Python is very less as compared if you are developing the any application. Syntax is very easy. It is reducing number of the code of the line when you are developing the application in the another programming language, and it is also the free source, open source. Okay, so these are the reasons why Python. Okay, so just I have, and I already this thing I already discussed this. Okay. So what happened? I told you everything is an object. If you are writing anything inside this Python, everything is an object. In Java, what we are getting, we were getting this hash code, right? When I was printing this object, we were getting this, hash code. In the Python, we have a ID function. So by using this ID function, we are getting this print object of this ID. If you are write a equal to 10, print of a, okay, 10, print of ID of a, okay, we are getting this ID. When you are writing a equal to 10, same thing what happened, object is created here. This object is created because everything is an object, right? We are getting this ID. A, here A is your referenced. No, here only A. Just I print this. A is there. 10 is there. This 10 is stored here. 10 value. Okay. So it is, if you are writing anything inside this Python, everything is an object. And we should not write any data type here. I am not writing any data type. So how it will decide this? If you are writing a string value, how it will decide this? Okay, when you are writing this variable, okay, then what happened at the time when you are, that's what is called dynamically typed. Okay, so what happened, according to your value, this interpreter will decide. Okay, so if I will print this, print of ID of s, and we have one more function, print of type. We can check this type also. Okay, so we can check this type as which type it is. You can see why I have given class, right? Because of this. This class is indicating here class str. So we are going to try to prove this. If you are writing anything inside this Python, everything is an object. Why it is giving this type is a class str? Because this is what real world object, right? Converting into the programming world. So internally everything in the Python is inbuilt, it is not visible. Okay, so if you are storing any value, if you want to give the which type it is, so we have a id function. All the things in the coming session I will explore this. So just we are focusing on this print function. Okay, so now this print parameters, so this id, we will get id of any object here, okay, by using this print id. So print parameters, object oriented to the printed. We have a one that is called SAP, right? We have seen, right, this SAP separator, it's called object and separated by the SAP dot default value. We will see all the things inside this code. Okay, we have a file, must be an object with the write a string method. These are the default value provided by this Python data inside this. So what do you meaning of this? Just I have mentioned here. Plus means if true, then stream is forcibly flushed and default value is false. So we will see this how to use in the program. Okay, so we have a Python SAP parameter in print. This is called separator between the argument to the print function. In a Python is a space by default, and which can be modified and can be made of any character, integer and the string as per our choice. Means how to use this, why it is required, this we will discuss. The SAP parameter ID is used to achieve the same. It is found only in 3.2 version. Okay, we have a multiple version of the Python. Where we will get this, you can see we have a multiple version, right? So we are using version 3. Okay, we have a multiple version, we are using version 3 onwards. We have a, you can see we have a second version also. So we are using, because in the second version a lot of the things is not there. So this third version is the enhancement of this Python 2. Okay, so this thing SAP parameter, it found only in 3.x, means second version or later. It is also used for the formatting the output in the string. So what is the use of this SAP? So just I'm going to copy this. So this, when you are write this, these are the string I am going to pass here. Okay, so now it will use it is whatever the space is there. Just how I can show you the difference between this SAP. If you will not use this SAP, okay, so what the output will come? The output will come like that, this space. I want to remove this space. Okay, so by using this SAP, and I have given here what, a string value. Okay, you guys will confuse. One more thing I have to discuss first. Okay, what I have to discuss, that is very confusing thing, so I have to discuss, otherwise we get confusion. Okay, actually print A. Okay, one second, it should not have any confusion, so that's why. So this is the type we are checking. Okay, print of store this value. I have to store. Okay, so what I have to do, just a equal to s equal to, I am writing here a b c. Okay, now just I am going to check the type. Print of, we have a type function and we are going to check which type it is, a string type. Okay, if you are writing s1 equal to, okay, just what I am going to use, we have to concentrate. Okay, a b c. I am going to check this type. So which type it is? It is also a string. Okay, I am going to write this Okay, A, B, C. Okay, triple quotes. First we have used double quotes, second we have used single quotes, and third I am going to use triple quotes, and I am going to check the type. You can observe one thing, we are getting same type for every oh, I have to store this first. Okay, so what we have to do, just I am going to store here. I am using triple quotes. So what is the conclusion of this all this example for doing verification of the type? Same type we are getting, double quotes same type, single quotes same type, triple quotes same type, string, a string, a string. Okay, I am going to use one more type here, triple single quotes. Okay, A, B, C, and print of type of S3. Okay, so now you can see. So what is the conclusion is, a string, there is nothing is a here character. If you are writing this double quotes, a single quotes, a triple single quotes, a triple this double quotes and triple single quotes, all the type is a string. Okay, so where you can use for a specific for this all the things we will discuss later. Okay, so we should not confuse here. Here I have written this, so these are all the string. Okay, so we should not confuse this. So by using this separator, if you are not using this separator, then we are getting this space here. I want to remove this space. So by using this separator, just I am going to remove this space inside this all this value. This is the use of separator. Okay, now we have another example also. You want to give some like other value also. So separator I am giving like that. Okay, so if you will use this, so it's printing like that. So this is the use of this separator. According to requirement, you can provide anything here. Okay, so this is the use of separator. Like I have given one more example, right? This is the one another example. Okay, so like that. So you can give anything here. Like I have given, yeah, this is like how this date format I want to print here. I want to print this date format like that. So now we are getting this date format like that. So I think you are able to understand what is the meaning of this separator. Okay, so this is your, like we have one more example, like you want to print like the email ID like that. So just I have provided here this character, so it is printing like that. So this is how to use this separator. So the separator parameter which is used to be the int parameter also, it produces the awesome result and some of the example of combining this. So what happens, they will give you the format, hey, can you print this output like that. So by using this SAP separator we can print in the any format. We have one more that is called ind. So what is the use of this ind? Actually this output is wrong, so we have to use this. Okay, this is cell how to use this. We have a multiple line of the code. Here we are executing the single line of the code, right? But you have a multiple line of the code, so we can create a file, new file. I am going to save this file. Okay, just you can create. And one more thing, Python having the default set, you should not set the path like Java. Okay, so I will tell you that how it is, where it is going to store when you are going to install this Python. Okay, just I am saving this test, so already there in my system. This I'm going to replace it. Okay, so this is my Python file created. So where we can use this cell, if you have some testing, you want to test some code, okay, then we can go through this. But we have a multiple line of the code, then we will use what? Python file. So we have a multiple editor. I will give you the list of the editor of the Python. This is the by default editor when you are going to install in the Python. In the real time, frequently the people are using PyCharm. This is my PyCharm. Okay, I will show you later, we'll see, but don't use right now PyCharm, okay, because all the things will come automatically. So we should not use this right now. We will do the practice on this. Okay, so one more example, this end function. What is the job of this end function? Okay. I'm not using this end right now. We had already discussed this, right? How it will work. So when you will execute this output will come inside this cell. Okay, this inside this cell only. How to execute this? Run and run mode. Okay, so it's like it is coming. This output. Okay, when you will use this end function, so this is our PyCharm. Okay, so here you can we can develop this in the real time. People are using PyCharm mostly if you want to learn the Selenium or web development, so they are going to develop the code inside this PyCharm. Okay, so later we'll see this PyCharm. We should do the practice on this. When we are using this end function, so okay, so what happened? We are getting this output in the same line by using this end function. Means what is the use of this end function? This value ending with this a string and this value is ending with z. Okay, that's why we are using this end function. You can just modify this code and you can use another value, you can take and execute once. Okay, so what you have to do, you have a 1 week of the time, just read once theory. I am stopping your session. What you can do,